Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends. I'm very excited to introduce you tonight on JCB Live, a very unique, extraordinary individual. Another one. He's French. Ladies, he's very charming. And gentlemen, his name is Julien Boulard. He speaks perfect Mandarin, the dream of the century, because all of us want to learn how to speak Mandarin. This is the language to do. He expatriated himself to China, which is not easy to do, to move to a foreign country, and furthermore, one that is culturally so different. He's one of the very few master of wine from France. He got his master's in 2019. It's an enormous achievement. We are so proud of him. And he is a master of wine, a wine expert, teaches wine, opened his own wine business, Julian Wine Consulting as well. And he's going to be with us tonight. So I'm very thrilled. We're going to travel far away. We're going to China. Dear friends, China, Julien. Woo! Look at that, baby.
Oh, pretty nice.
Look at that.
Can you see me here?
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you see me, Jean-Charles? Because I can't see myself here.
Not yet, but I know it's coming. I know it's going to be coming throughout the lines of the world.
I am arriving. Here I am. Hello.
Well, cheers, Julien, to you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Well, you may want to...
I don't have the sparkling here, but I have some nice rosé, LVE French rosé. Do you know this?
Well, you have our friends is on tour, John Legend, and please, let's try it.
Okay.
We'll dive.
Otherwise, I also have some red here. I love this label, man.
Thank you.
I love it. It's so furry.
And look, we're going to do LV Rosé, which is a Provence Rosé. But Julien, a big question.
Yes.
You were born in the wine country of Alsace.
Yes.
One of my favorite white and red wine producer, but specifically white. How did you get interested in wine?
Well, it's a good question because, you know, actually, I'm really not from a winemaking background. I used to drink Coke at home when I was younger. And I started to get interested in wine after coming to China. So that's very strange because a lot of people, you know, when they see me as a French guy in China, they say, oh, you must know wine. Yeah, I do know wine a little bit, but not because I am French. I've actually learned it after moving to China.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you must explain to everybody it's always possible to basically learn about wine. There's no right time or wrong time, right?
Exactly, exactly. No, I think it's never too late to learn something, and it's never too late to start something. This reminds me of, have you read The Harvest of Joy from Robert Mondavi?
Absolutely.
It's his biography. I mean, it's just amazing story. Where he speaks about his history, and at the end of the book, it says, I'm 83 years old, and I feel like the best of my life is yet to come, and I'm already 80 years old. It's never too late to learn something, and actually, I learned wine when I was 21 or 22 years old. Yeah, so it's a bit late actually. But
I love it. You know, a lot of our friends watching with us tonight are from the United States, and they can only start tasting wine at 21. So when was the last time you actually tried wine from Alsace, from where you're from?
I would say
you're probably 2 years old, right?
Yeah, exactly. Last time it was like 1 week ago. But you know, the great thing in China is that you have access to so many different wines. And that's one of the reasons why I feel I was able to learn much quicker here, rather than if I were in France. A lot of people, when I was studying for the Master of Wine, asked me, shouldn't you go back to France to be in the environment, to learn better? But actually, it's a misconception because in France, you only have access to French wines, mostly. And if you live in Bordeaux, you are mostly going to drink Bordeaux wines every day. So sometimes you've got some specialized shops, but it's really limited in terms of selection. While in China, it's a bit like maybe in the States or in the UK, where you have access to a very broad selection of origins and great varieties and a lot of stuff. That's very fun.
So tell me, why did you study the Master of Wine? And then we'll go to China again.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, I just love studying. I'm a study geek. When I was in France, I was studying Chinese, so I learned Mandarin at school in France. And
Wow.
I moved to China in 2003, so 18 years ago, while I was studying Chinese. And I was really, really passionate. I was like, you know, spending hours. I spent between 2 and 6 hours per day during 6 years studying Chinese. I mean,
Wow.
writing lines of Chinese characters, reading, speaking out loud. And I was really, really passionate about it. After I finished my studies, I started to work in the wine business for a wine importer. And I didn't have time to continue studying improving my Chinese. And it was already quite good, to be honest. So I kind of, how to say, moved this passion towards wine. So I kept the momentum of studying something. I just put the Chinese study aside and put all myself into studying wine. Because
and how many years did it take you to complete the Master of Wine, which is normally 6, 8, 10 years for some people? It's such a complicated exam.
Yeah, it is really challenging exam. It really is. You know, it was very funny because when I just entered the wine industry and I read about the Masters of Wine, I said, oh my God, these guys are amazing. I will never become a Master of Wine. It seems so far away from me. You know, it's something unreachable. Then, you know, I had a colleague of mine. We knew a little bit about wine. He was like challenging me every time. He was asking me, so what are the grape varieties in Champagne? Yeah, I've got no idea. What is the main grape variety in Mendoza? Where is Mendoza? You know, I had no clue back then. And it kind of triggered my interest. So I went online, I checked how to learn wine, and there is this course, the WSET. And my first teacher was actually one of your hosts on the JCB Live, Fongy Walker.
Oh, yeah.
You remember Fongy, right? So I learned actually the level 3 with Fongy. And then I said, okay, cool, that's very interesting. Let's learn more. And so I enrolled in the WSET diploma, it's a level 4. And after the diploma, well, next step was the Master of Wine. I said, okay, just do it. You know, I enjoy studying, I enjoy reading, I enjoy tasting a lot and drinking even more. So that's the way it went, you know, naturally.
Well, this is so cool. So show us how Julien Boulard himself describes the rosé from Sainte Victoire we have, made with our friend musician John Legend, named LVE, one of the coolest rosé on the planet. As you can see, this gorgeous bottle.
I love the label. I love the bottle.
Look at this, baby. Woo!
It's pretty cool. I like the way it is, you know, very simple. I like now it's quite trendy now to make this kind of bottle that are completely transparent, only a few letters on the label. This is really class. There's no chichi in French. It's just straight to the point, very elegant, very cool. It's a lot of rosé, you know. To be really honest, I don't drink rosé a lot, but I think it's the kind of wine you really enjoy for the brunch, actually.
Yes.
Or actually, you know, when during the hot summer days, you want something refreshing, something which is not totally white, totally red, something in between. And for me, rosé is definitely a good, you know, just thirst quenching wine, and I love it.
Well, thank you for that. So, Julien, right into the essence of why China. What happened to you? Did you meet someone special in your life that drove you to the Chinese culture?
Exactly, but not a woman, actually, because you know, I was born in 1982, very good by the way, and my older sister was born in 1968. So she is 16 years old, older than me. And when I remember when I was 6 or 7 years old, she had a boyfriend from China, a Chinese guy coming to my family. And back then I already moved from Alsace to Normandy. And I was living in the country, Le Mans. And there was this Chinese guy coming, and I just discovered the Bruce Lee movies back then. And the guys knew Kung Fu. So I was like, wow, Bruce Lee is coming home. That's amazing. And so they had a baby together, actually. My nephew is mixed blood, half French and half Chinese. And his father has had a tremendous influence on me. And one day I remember hearing him speaking on the phone with his brothers in Chinese. And I said to myself, man, that's incredible, but so different from everything we learned at school here in France. And when I went to university, actually, I said, okay, let's do it. Let's go learn Mandarin. And then after, I realized that my brother-in-law did not know how to speak Mandarin, actually. He spoke a dialect. And when he came to China, I actually had to help him translate because his Mandarin was very poor. So it was very, very funny. And so that's the way I learned Chinese. And the reason why I learned Chinese. And during my studies, I was doing my bachelor degree or during my master degree, I don't remember, but I came to China as an exchange student. So I arrived in 2003 and just love the place, love the people, love the culture, love the food, and just stayed.
That's amazing. So is it when you analyze the Chinese culture as a Frenchman, and I know we are very close to the understanding of the Chinese culture, we love it. We very, give us some of the very positive cultural, phenomenal things we have in common.
But I mean, you're making a great point.
Besides the martial arts, everybody in the world talks about the difference, which I'm so tired to hear.
Oh, Josha, I am so happy you're bringing this to the table. I'm so happy. You know why? Because a lot of Chinese people also ask me about the cultural differences. And I do truly believe that there are no such things as cultural differences.
Thank you. I agree with you.
Because we are all looking for the same thing: fun, happiness, wealth, health, sex, wine, food. I mean,
why did sex come so far away down your list? As a Frenchman, I'm a little surprised. It came number 6. Wow.
Yeah, because I was on a show. I'm on a show in the States, so I'm
gonna put some Pinot in my glass to get sex on the show. Sex in the city.
No, honestly, it's really, we don't have that many differences.
That's right.
They love good food. They love good alcohol, not really wine, but alcohol. They enjoy getting a bit dizzy with friends and starting to speak about politics and everything. So even though we say, oh, we cannot speak about politics, but we do, in little groups. And it's really funny because I often tell them, you have the Chinese opera, we have the Italian opera. The essence is the same thing. You've got a bunch of guys on the scene singing and dancing. The difference is that they don't have the same clothes, but the core is the same. You've got a bunch of guys doing music on the side. The same with the medicine. I mean, you speak about Chinese medicine, but I remember when I was a child getting, problem with my engine, engine, angine, sore throat.
Yeah, cold. Yeah.
Yeah, cold. Yeah. And my grandfather went into the woods getting some, leaves and getting a kind of tea, and drinking it. And the next day it was okay for me. So I think the differences are more about economics developments stage.
That's right.
But we Chinese people here, they have a great sense of humor. All my friends, because for the people who are watching the show, I don't live in Shanghai, I don't live in Beijing I don't live in one of these big cities. I live in a small city, only the 50th biggest city in China, with only 7 million inhabitants. And so we don't have a lot of foreigners here. So all my friends are 99% Chinese. And I can tell you, I feel really comfortable with them. And you can speak about anything you want. And it's really, really fun to be here.
No,
but
that's
you've been to China, right, Jean-Charles?
Oh, many, many times. Hey, by the way, I just poured the Pinot Noir to welcome our Chinese friends, because this is a wine I think that goes so well with Chinese food. But tell us about what kept you for so long, Julien, in China, because you've been there for 18 years, right?
Yes.
So tell us why so long, and what attracts you, and why we should all spend so much time in China.
Well, first of all, I got married once. I got married for 9 years. I got divorced. Now I've got a new girlfriend, and we have a daughter together. So that really kind of makes me want to stay here. But the main reason is that, after so many years in one place, you just got used to it. And you've got your friends, you've got your family, you've got your work. I mean, it's like you. Why are you staying in the States? Why are you not going back to France?
Well, for me, I have a very intimate love of American people, first and foremost, because a beautiful place you could find anywhere. But I think the people is really what drives me very motivated to the US. Number two, the energy, the willingness to undertake, the lifestyle. And as you said, having a great time. The US people are really fun. The French people often take themselves too seriously. And I say that to them all the time. I mean, they too much building a mountain out of a molehill. When in the US, I think we're much more entrepreneurial, much more easygoing. And I love that style of people. What about you?
Yeah, I think you're touching the right point here when you're speaking about energy. There's also this energy here where you want to make things, you want to go forward. You really want to, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are someone who likes working, who enjoy working. I mean, China is a great place because you really can work like 10 hours a day and nobody will tell you, oh, you're working too much, or you should do that and not that. And you really have this positive, forward-going energy, which really pushes you forwards. While often to my friends, if I go back to France, it's going to be for retirement. I mean, it's a great place just to retire, just to enjoy food, enjoy the sceneries. But I mean, when you're young and you want to really do something with your life, I mean, a place like China, and maybe I guess it's the same for the States, places where you've got this energy and you want to do.
No, I love that. And I agree. Look at Charles, our wonderful friends. Charles, who introduced us, who run our Chinese office, is a fabulous young man and full of energy. Would he be able to do the same thing in France? Maybe not. And in China, here we go, Charles Carrard. So thank you, Charles, for introducing us to Julien. Julien, congratulations for creating your own business. How was it to create your own business in China? I mean, you did it, which I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I want to raise again my glass to you as a young man going for it. Cheers.
Thanks. But I know it's not that difficult. I mean, I also saw that Don Saint-Pierre was on your show some time ago, right? Don Saint-Pierre from ASC,
of course,
who created one of the biggest wine importing companies in China. I mean, there are some challenges, but then it's not, that complicated, especially if you can speak Chinese. I mean, I speak Chinese much better than English. I feel actually more comfortable now in Chinese than in French. If you ask me to speak French with you or Chinese, which one I would be more comfortable? I would say Chinese actually, because I've been using Chinese on a 24 hours basis for the last 18 years. So when I'm listening something, French is easier, because it's you understand everything 100%. Sometimes Chinese, maybe there's one little nuance you do not get, but when I teach my courses in my school, I only do them in Chinese. So the fact that I speak Chinese and Chinese people don't really see me as a foreigner anymore. And
Yeah.
I mean, I did my friends, you know, they often we say that they forgot that I was a foreigner, you know, they speak to me and we just go in very deep conversation sometimes. So I think it was not that complicated for me. It was quite smooth, actually, very smooth.
I think you're very modest. Not complicated to start your own business in China. You did it. This is a big deal. And I remember hearing from you from ASC and this great Frenchman, and then you branch out and you're creating your own destination. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of courage. Give us the clue of creating your own business. Besides being crazy.
Patient or being crazy, maybe. Maybe it's the same thing, right? Being passionate and being crazy. I mean, sometimes there's a very thin edge in between, right? No, I think it's dedication. Is you really do what you want to do. I used to work for a company and used to work for an importer for 5 or 6 years. It was great, but at the end, I wanted to have my own business and have the freedom to work the way I wanted to work. No, I don't think it's really that difficult. And I don't want people to believe that, you know, doing your own stuff is very, very challenging. Just do it one step after the other. And, you know, big dreams are made of an accumulation of small steps. Small dreams.
Are you quoting Mao Zedong or are you quoting Lao Tzu? But you're quoting some good philosophers here, for sure. No, so tell us what you think about the Pinot, because I know Alsace makes great Pinot, of course. We have that in common with Burgundy. What's your view of this wine?
Yeah, I love the spiciness of it. It's really spicy. I like the kind of close character, right?
Yes.
You're speaking about Alsace. Actually, it makes me think about the Christmas market. When you go in the Christmas market and with all these spices, aromas of cloves, of pain d'épices, gingerbread, I've got this kind of Christmas feeling in this one.
Yeah, no, very true. I agree with you. Well said. So, not to come back to the Master of Wine, but what was the toughest part to pass for you?
Okay, yeah. So that was the last year, the final stage dissertation, actually. A lot of people think that I passed the theory in one go. I didn't pass the testing the first time, I passed the second time. But that really didn't bother me because I just love testing. And each time I'm in front of 12 glasses to be tested blind, I got so excited. I've got a kind of enthusiasm for exam. I love exams. A lot of people get scared about exams. I love it. I'm like, bring it on, baby. Come on, give me the wines. So I wasn't scared about that. And I didn't mind failing at the first attempt. I would theory, because if you don't have a theory, it means that you're going to have to read books again for 1 year. But it was okay. Then the final stage, for the final stage, you have a kind of memoir, kind of dissertation to write. It's called the research paper.
Yes.
And it was much more complicated than what I thought it would be. I mean, you know, I have a master's degree in France where you write a lot of dissertations, but not as academic as the Master of Wine expectations. I mean, it's like really a scientific approach, a real research paper.
Yes.
And I didn't have the experience with this kind of work. And I passed in one go, but I really forced myself, you know, to finish it. And it was a pain in the ass. I really didn't enjoy the last stage. I really didn't enjoy it. But the first one, the previous exams, the testing, the theory, I mean, it was like just so much fun. And during the Master of Wine studies, you know, you visit a lot of wineries, you go to a lot of wine regions, you meet incredible people. So I went to your wife's winery back then. It was an amazing visit. And we went to Chile, I went to Australia, I went to Austria. We've been to so many incredible places, and it's, I mean, I think the most important is the process more than the outcome.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well said. I think that's the process which you're describing so well. Now, I just poured, I think, wine made for China. Look at this label, Red Velvet.
I love it. I love the texture.
Baby, yes.
Oh, God.
So Julien, oh, exactly. Red Velvet. We love red, which is the official color of Raymond Vineyards. Now, Julien, everybody's curious, of course. Amazing food in China, incredible flavor profile. People have unbelievable analytical skills on aroma, flavor, taste profile. I mean, the food is so complex and so interesting. What is the wine trend really these days? Because we all knew it went skyrocketing up. The Chinese drank a lot of wine, enjoyed it, a lot of gifting, a lot of everything. And now, where are we within that curve? Give us your thoughts.
Okay.
I know it's a big question, forgive me.
A lot of people have a lot of questions about the current state of the Chinese wine market. A lot of people are getting a bit worried because they've all thought that China would be the next El Dorado. It would be the gold rush, and it has been the gold rush in China for wine. But let's put it this way.
I give you an A+ on how to open a bottle of wine.
Thanks.
And how you're cooking the cork. So the master of wine gives you another high rank. Here we go.
Of course, I'm a master of wine. Come on. That's what
and by the way, you need to tell us about your martial arts, because in addition to the wine trends in China, you're very fit. Huh?
Yeah, I've been back to the gym for the last 6 months, and I've lost like 10 kilos in 6 months.
Good for you. You're a fighter, you do martial arts.
I used to do a lot of Thai boxing and jiu-jitsu, but back then, not now. But I think it's very important to remain fit in our industry, because we eat and drink so much. If you don't take care of your body, you will regret it at the end, for sure. So back to the Chinese wine market. I think it's getting healthier, actually, because when I remember back in 07, 08, 09, when really things were really starting, and it was like a skyrocket. It was incredible. You look at the curve of importing wines, it was like incredible. But you have to understand that back then, the people buying wines weren't real wine drinkers. I think it was like more, the company spending money on wine for banquets and things like that. So I do believe that you now have less companies buying a lot of wines. However, you get more end consumer drinking wine. So the wine consumption is getting more mature. Yeah. And I would say more expert in certain way. Because if you go to Shanghai and you speak with people about the Burgundy cruise, some of them know more than the Burgundians themselves, maybe. It's incredible the knowledge people have managed to get within the last 4 or 5 years. So it's slowed down a little bit for sure, but maybe because of these big companies who used to buy a lot of wine for their employees and for gifts. But, I'm still very positive about this market. And when I think about the Chinese market, I'm thinking about the American market in the 60s and 70s.
That's it. And do people fundamentally like the flavor profile? Is it made with the food, with the palate, with the construction of the mouth and all the senses? What's your view there?
I think there is not such a thing as a Chinese palate.
Okay.
So I think that's a urban legend. A lot of people say there is a Chinese taste. But you know what? I think the Chinese taste is exactly the same as the American taste or the European taste. It really depends on how engaged the drinker is. I mean, someone just comes to wine for the first time, maybe Chinese or French or American, they won't like a very acidic, tannic Barolo, right? They will find aggressive. They will like the lusher style, the Barossa Shiraz or the Merlot, you know, really round tannics, a little bit of sweetness in it. So I don't think it's a matter of Chinese taste. I mean, everybody in the world like this type of wine. But then when you get more engaged with wine, when you are starting to know more about wine, right? You are starting to look for a bit more tannins, a bit more acidity, a bit more complexity. So it's more a matter of maturity of the markets, I would say. And because, yeah, you know, I've got friends who are really fond of big, tannic red wine. Some of them are really into very high acidic Riesling. So, tous les goûts sont dans la nature, we say in French, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So, the Raymond Cabernet Velvet Label, what would be your favorite Chinese food to pair it with, and what do you think about this one? Napa Valley Cabernet, Rutherford, Santa Helena. I mean, you
like
name
very oily and grassy suckling pig.
Ooh,
oh yeah.
I'm starving now.
Oh yeah, that's so good. You have to come to China and eat with me. I'll take you to a restaurant where you will just don't believe. It's just Chinese food is so good. It's so good. And Chinese people, you know, they are just so proud of their cuisine. It's like the French people, you know. Sometimes I feel like Chinese people are really kind of French people, you know. We are very alike. And sometimes they are also very American in one sense, you know. They are, I would say, half Americans, half French people for me.
So they're the best of both worlds, really.
Yeah, you know,
because I only love half of what the French person can be, and sometimes 3/4 of what an American can be. So it's a good blend. And what would you serve? So you would serve that with this wine. Now, a question.
Yeah.
You're bicultural now. How is it for you to raise a bicultural daughter? I know, because I live the same thing with my twin ladies of 10 being half American, half French, although granted, they're more American than French at this stage because we hear in the US more, but they love both cultures. So give us some of your phenomenal moments.
I want to ask you one question first, to have your opinion and your own experience. Do you speak French or English with them?
Well, I typically speak French. They answer to me a lot in English, but sometimes in French. But I try to stick with it if I'm with them because they love it. I know it. They find a little bit of a challenge or maybe intimidation, but they understand everything I say. Every time they answer in English, they understood my question. And I think they're only 10 years old. Maybe it's a matter of age. Maybe it's because there's always people around us. So, but I love the idea of two cultures for sure, or three.
Oh, definitely. I think it's really an advantage for them. The only thing I have is that sometimes I'm a bit lazy, which means that I will speak to her in Chinese rather than in French. So I try to stick to French as much as I can. But when I see she's tired or not in a good mood, you know, I just switch to Chinese. And because she knows I can speak Chinese and I understand Chinese, I don't feel she's making any effort to speak French. But she's only 3.5. So, you know, and maybe it will come later.
Yeah,
I'm a bit worried. How is she going to catch up with her French? Because with the COVID situation, we haven't moved back to France for the past 2 years or almost, already, 1.5. And as I told you, I'm not living in a city where you have a lot of foreigners and even less French people. So our environment is only Chinese, and I'm the only one to speak French with her, and not 100% of the time. So for me, the biggest challenge and the thing which really makes me a bit worried is that I don't speak enough with her in French, to be honest. But otherwise, besides that, I think it's a great opportunity for her because, you know, although we haven't been to France for the past 1.5 years, she's already been there 3 or 4 times before she was 2 years old, actually. And
So she feels it.
Yeah, she had a bit of memory, and we travel a lot within China also. So she has the opportunity to see more things compared to our, for example, to our classmates in the kindergarten. So yeah, it's definitely an advantage for a kid, definitely.
Well, thank you for sharing. So before we ask you the big question of the night, tell us about Julian Wines and your own business and how, I mean, it's not easy to create your own business. Furthermore, in a foreign country, in a way which is now your country, half and half, because you've lived for 18 years in France and 18 years in China almost. I was calculating you quite half and half.
21 years in France. And in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, I would be half of my life in China. It's incredible. That's amazing. So Julian Wines is really, at the beginning, I had 2 core businesses. One was wine education, and the second one was community management.
Yeah.
So I used to, I had a team who used to feed the social media for the Chinese social media for.
You're the king of social media. I should have said that. You have quite an amount of followers that no one can reach. So congratulations.
No, far from yours. But you know, it's the problem in China is that we don't have access to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So a lot of foreign wineries, if they want to invest a lot on this social media, but they don't have any visibility in China. In China, you've got Weibo and Weixin, which is WeChat. You know, very, and TikTok. Is it still forbidden in the States, TikTok?
No. It's we love it. We love TikTok. Yeah.
I remember during Trump, they said that they wanted to ban it. No?
They were having discussions, but no. It's my daughters love it. They post on it. It's so much fun.
Okay, so it's about the 3 main, I would say that. Those are not other ones, but there are the 3 main social media in China. And so the problem is, first of all, you have to know how to use them, and then you need to know the language. But when you are a winery, for example, in California, and you maybe don't have someone who speaks fluent Chinese or who can write Chinese, and if you have someone who writes Chinese, you're not sure that you know how to use it properly. So our activity was actually to help them, to help our clients to create content adapted to Weibo and WeChat. And the second activity was really wine education. So WSET, the French Wine Scholar. I host a lot of master classes everywhere in China. And now I'm only doing this now. I stopped the community management thing because I've got doubts about the utility of it now.
Yeah.
I mean, how much time do you spend, you, Jean-Charles, doing videos? I mean, I've seen you updating your accounts like daily for the past, I don't know how many months, but you are posting videos like every day now. And it's really time consuming. How do you manage to do so many things? I'm asking you.
Well, as an answer to this is, look, we're spending 45 minutes together, having a great time, and we decide to share it. So for me, in any case, Julien, I wanted to meet you. So whether we do a conference call or we do a video and we share it to the world, it's great. And we get to know each other this way. So in many of our videos, it's just happened this way. What we've decided to do, Julien, when we created the live and the wine style, it was only our friends, people we like you, thanks to Charles, who we value, we admire, and it's been that community. So for us, in any case, it was not like reaching out to people and say, oh, you would be good, so would you like to be on? We anyhow would have liked to be with them. So yes, it's a lot of time, but at the same time, it's great time.
Mhm.
And, you know, we're getting 10, 12, 15 million views a month.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
people are enjoying getting to know you. And I think for us, we genuinely love to share the friends we have. So it's not an effort. It's not a something
Work.
we have to
It's
do.
a job, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a job whatsoever. It's something we. I'm delighted that so many more people are going to get to know you and see how great of a Frenchman you. For me, I adore what you've done in your life. I've heard about you for many years, and I admire you. And I'm honored of the fact that you're French. You left the country. You still spend time in France, but over the last 18 years, you've built an amazing platform, an amazing new life in China. And I think the world of it. So I want the world to be inspired by it. And that's why, you know, it's not saying we're going to build a business online. We've never really thought about it this way when Dylan, Patrick, Jen, Ashley, Melissa, all of us got together on March 17, 2020. We said, God, the world is going to change. Let's be in touch with everybody else. How do we do it? And Dylan said, I've been trying to convince you for a while to do this. Let's do it. And it was natural. So I know it's a long way to answer your question, but we never thought it was an assignment. We never looked at it as a business model. We never looked at it as an obligation. I love to do it. And being with you for an hour is great. And it's great, not only because it's good for me, it's good for everybody to know you. And people today will call you, would get in touch with you, and would want to get part of your school, and would say, God, if he did it, I can do it.
I hope that. I think that's the most important message to get out of from this conversation is that, first of all, you can, there is nothing is impossible. No, you just, I mean, people are going to the space now on tourism visits. No, it's and you can do anything you want if you really just do it. And the second thing is, I think, to take out from this discussion is that China is not a scary place.
No.
China is really, really not a scary place. I don't think anybody should be, no, because in the media, in the Western countries, in Europe especially, we see a lot of, reports about China, which are kind of, negative and a bit, sometimes scary. But, China is just, people just want to enjoy life. They just want to have fun. They just want to drink good wine and eat good food and meet nice people. And that's what everyone on earth aspires to, I think. So
yes. So now, Julien, come the last few seconds or minutes, sadly, of our time together. But I know we're going to revisit again very soon. When I come to China, we'll do another show from your place. Give us what inspires you and combine it with a big message to everyone being with us tonight.
What inspires me? People inspire me. I mean, people even like you, Jean-Charles. I mean, people who have patience, who have this sparkle of joy in their eyes. We have so many people who are suffering around us. I mean, we don't see them necessarily, but sometimes when you go on internet and you're on Facebook and you see these ads, with the poor children in India and everything. We are really, really, really lucky for most of us watching this video. Every time you feel bad, just remember that some people in India, in Africa, even in the suburbs of where you live, are really suffering much more than you are. And so stop being negative, remain positive, and just find joy and love, and just be inspired by people. People should be at the center of everything we do. We do things for the people, not only for ourselves, not only for money. Just take care of the people around you. Yeah, people inspire me.
I love it. Well, you combine both. First, very well said, Julien. Congratulations for having that great spirit and that fantastic twinkle in your eye as well of loving others, because this is what it's all about. And maybe a different message to the world now that you want to, you kind of said it in your inspirational message, but anything else you want to add before we say hello in China on Chinese soil in a few months, I hope?
Time is too short to drink bad wine. That's the message I have.
I love
Just
it.
enjoy, have good wines.
Well, I'm going to put a little more Raymond then. I know Charles and Leanne and Dan and all our great friends are with us and all our partners in China. But Julien, I really want to commend you for all your great achievements, for being this Frenchman who keeps going, keeps pushing the boundaries, and keeps innovating, from your masters of wine and your love of education to your love of entrepreneurship, to your love of not being scared to undertake and not doing the obvious. You a true example to all those French people who are wondering maybe back home in France, okay, what shall I do next? Your friends, do like Julien, he did it. He went to China and he did it. So no one can speak about it more than you, Julien. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean-Charles. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And congratulations to you, and cannot wait to see you in your town and in Normandy, in Alsace, in Burgundy.
Wherever you want. I'm your man.
Merci beaucoup.
Take care.
So how do we say goodbye in Chinese?
再见. 再见.
再见.
再见. Yeah. 再见. Good. You're good.
And how do we say santé?
干杯.
Ganbei. So we're going to go the full glass. Shall we do the full glass together?
Let's do it. Ganbei.
Ganbei. I'm doing the full one.
Oh, gosh.
Well, you pushed me. Thank you so much.
It's morning here in China.
Well, hey, don't you think it's better than coffee anyhow?